thousands of years, the Longbeard clan, also known as the Dwarves of Durin's folk, lived in the realm of Khazad-dûm, built deep within the misty mountains of Middle-earth. Growing rich from mining mithril and other precious gems, the dwarves dug deep into the mountain until the year 1980 of the Third Age, when they awoke a Balrog of Morgoth. Evoking the wrath of this creature they named Durin's Bane, the Longbeards fled from their ancient home to settle in their northern colony of Erebor, founding the kingdom under the mountain. There they lived for the next 2 centuries until relocating once more in 2210 to settle the nearby Grey Mountains. Yet as the dwarves continued to accumulate great stores of wealth, they came under threat from the dragons of the northern wastes, prompting King Thror I to move many of his people back to the kingdom under the mountain, while his younger brother Gror led others to a colony in the Iron Hills. For years, they prospered in their reclaimed home, bringing forth new generations of clever, loyal, and industrious dwarves, such as Balin, son of Fundin, who went on to become a great leader amongst their people. A distant cousin of the royal family through his great-grandfather Borin, brother to the king, Balin lived in Erebor for much of his life, proving both wise and courageous. However, the ill fortune of Durin's folk had not yet run its course, and in 2770, the fire-breathing dragon Smaug attacked and occupied the Lonely Mountain, forcing the dwarves to once again flee for their lives. Settling for a time in Dunland, their king, Thror, was soon slain by Azog, leader to the orcs of Moria, who'd taken up residence in their ancient homeland of Khazad-dûm. Both Balin and his younger brother Dwalin then fought in the War of the Dwarves and Orcs, which culminated in the Battle of Azanulbizar in 2799. Though the dwarves wiped out great portions of the orc population within the Misty Mountains, they failed to recover Khazad-dûm, as Durin's Bane still dwelt within, alongside a great many orcs and trolls. Therefore, when the war finally ended, many of the Longbeards established themselves in the Blue Mountains under King Thrain, son of Thror, whose reign grew increasingly sorrowful over the next 40 years, as he was desperate to reclaim the riches left behind in their former kingdom. In 2841, Thrain left his son Thorin as leader of their people and embarked upon a quest with a small company that included his friends Dwalin and Balin to explore the Lonely Mountain and see if the danger from Smaug the Terrible was still present. Learning of their mission, the Dark Lord Sauron laid a trap by sending beasts and bad weather, forcing them to take shelter in the forest of Mirkwood, where his agents came in the night to capture the king. Bringing Thrain to Dol Guldur, they took his ring of power, inflicted torture, and left him to die. Balin and Dwalin, meanwhile, could not locate their leader, and so returned to the Blue Mountains, where they served Thrain's son Thorin Oakenshield. A longtime friend to the new king, Balin became one of his most valued advisors, and so in 2941, when Thorin embarked upon a quest to reclaim the kingdom under the mountain, he was joined by 12 dwarven companions, which included both sons of Fundin. Joined by the wizard Gandalf the Grey and the hobbit Bilbo Baggins, the company endured a thrilling and perilous adventure, journeying to Rivendell, the Misty Mountains, the Forest of Mirkwood, and the Woodland Realm, during which time they were captured by and escaped from trolls, goblins, and wood elves. They also flew with the eagles, met the skin changer Bjorn, and passed through the human settlement of Lake Town before at last reaching the Lonely Mountain. Making their way into a secret side tunnel, Balin was the only dwarf to accompany Bilbo partway through the entrance, as the small hobbit was sent in as a scout to determine the status of Smaug and their lost treasure. Unfortunately, the dragon was alerted to their presence and went on a rampage, attacking nearby Lake Town until he was shot and killed by the black arrow of Bard the Bowman. Entering into a dispute with the humans of Lake Town and elves of Mirkwood over the treasures of Erebor, Balin and his companions joined the dwarves of the Iron Hills to defend their homeland. Yet in the end, these warring parties joined together alongside the Eagles and Bjorn the Skin Changer in order to repel the armies of orcs and wicked beasts led by Bolg, son of Azog, a longtime enemy of the dwarves. Engaging in the Battle of the Five Armies, Bolg was killed and his forces defeated, though victory came at a great cost, with Thorin as well as his nephews Fili and Kili lost in the fighting. With the king dead, Balin spent the next few decades living under the rule of Thorin's kinsman, Dain Ironfoot, though in 2949 he set off on a brief voyage to visit his old friend Bilbo in the Shire. A few decades later, in 2989, Balin was ready to lead an expedition of his own, and so set off to reclaim their ancient homeland of Khazad-dûm. In addition to housing the monstrous Balrog Durin's Bane, the realm now called Moria was teeming with dangers, as it became a refuge for orcs and wicked creatures loyal to Sauron. Yet even so, Balin was determined to make the journey, joined by a number of loyal friends including Owen, Ori, Nolly, Frar, Loni, and Floey. Fighting their way into the Misty Mountains, the Dwarven Company slew many orcs and settled their colony in the 21st Hall, where Balin was declared Lord of Moria. Surviving for 5 years, they recorded their activities in the Book of Mazarbul and recovered many of the ancient treasures of their people, including Durin's axe. But eventually, the colony fell to the continued onslaught of their enemies, with Balin shot and killed by a poisonous orc arrow. Though they fought valiantly until the end, the dwarves were all slain and the colony lost. Years later, when the Fellowship of the Ring passed through the Misty Mountains on their great journey to Mordor, it was Gimli, the son of Balin's cousin, Glóin, who found the tomb of the Lord of Moria and discovered the truth of their fate, mourning the loss of his beloved relative.